Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful in oil country and around the world. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Welcome, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing tonight?
Good. I'm feeling a little bad, Bruce. I didn't wish you either St. Patrick's Day yesterday or Happy Inoculation Day for you and your wife, I understand, was yesterday.
It was actually Tuesday, but yes.
Oh, Tuesday.
We had the first shot done right up here, and I got a little bit of a sore arm to show for it. And well, today I'm kind of off my game a little bit, but so were the Oilers, and they came through, and I think I will too.
Good stuff. It was a 2-1 victory for the Edmonton Oilers, Bruce. It was, I felt, a strangely unsatisfying game. Usually when the Oilers win, I'm kind of elated, but that game was about as flat as a glass of pop that sat out overnight. It was a defensive struggle extraordinaire, if you want to put a bright cast on it. But we had another first period, Bruce, where there was no grade A chances, and this was the fewest grade A chances we've seen in a game this year, I believe. Maybe there was an Ottawa game.
Ottawa game, it was the same.
Okay. This was 7-7, the grade A chances, so a very tight-fought game. Maybe this is what the rest of the NHL has been seeing all year, like these kind of low-scoring, more tight-played games, and we've been spared this kind of thing, fortunately. But both teams are just trapping the hell out of each other. There wasn't much of a forecheck, I didn't think, for either team. And it was not a beauty, Bruce.
No. You know how it would have been a lot uglier, though?
if you had been grading
you had the one instead of the two, yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
I would happily grade that game as a win.
Sorry.
Yeah. So now you're up to 8-2, tied with Kurt.
I'm tied with Kurt. Oh yeah. All right. This is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. And because the Oilers won, we'll go with 2 good things each. Bruce, why don't I start it off? Because my good thing really is the headline on this game. Connor McDavid, the Oilers only had 7 grade A scoring chances, but McDavid was in on 6 of them. Wow. And he drove the play on almost all of them. His 2 goals were fantastic, Bruce. And I one of his secret superpowers is he has laser guidance. And he laser guided both of those shots into the net. I mean, they weren't from exactly the most choice shooting spots. They were good shooting spots, but not great ones. But he just made absolutely brilliant shots on both plays to score those 2 goals. I noticed in the first period, Bruce, the checking was so tight in this game that even Connor McDavid at the end of the first period dumped the puck in. And I don't know how often I've seen that happen, but he did it. And it was on a dump-in play, actually, that he got his first goal, with Nurse dumping the puck in and him picking it up off his skate onto his hockey stick and into the net. He set up Josh Archibald for an absolute screamer of a chance late in the second period. He set up Jesse Puljujarvi for a nice grade A chance in the second period. So he got the highest mark, he and Ethan Bear. Although I admit I bumped up Ethan Bear's mark by 1 full grade because he shot the puck into Neil Pionk in a choice spot. I like that a lot.
Lots of ways to get a +1 in our system, eh, David?
There are.
Or -1.
There's only certain players. I actually have a huge amount of respect for Neil Pionk. He's an incredibly annoying, pesky hockey player. But is he ever good? He's a fantastic defenseman. And the Jets made a hell of a trade there.
They were.
Bruce, what's your good thing?
Well, my first good thing is I'm going to go with the defense pair of Chris Russell and Ethan Bear. They didn't get a whole lot done creatively, but this wasn't a real creative kind of game. This was a shutdown kind of game. And I loved how those guys ground and fought and battled and shut down the play in the Oilers territory and got the puck out in our Oilers territory. And I mean, this is kind of classic Chris Russell, where on his watch the Corsi was 13 for Edmonton and 18 for Winnipeg. I mean, the puck was in Edmonton's end a fair bit, but actual shots on goal were 9-5 for Edmonton. And that's because Winnipeg shots weren't getting through. They were missing the net. They were getting blocked. Russell blocked for himself. And they were just, they had no sort of free space. And I loved Ethan Bear's work along the boards. I loved how he button hooked his way out of trouble a couple times. That was a patented move he used a lot last year, and we haven't seen so much, where he does this sudden quick turn and he's just out. The forechecker's gone right by the other side of him, and he's got that extra second to make his pass. And he did venture into Winnipeg territory that one time. I thought he had a real good chance to score until Pionk put his jockstrap in the way and made the stop. So, but it was thought a good effort by both. Russell did have involvement in one Oilers scoring chance with a real nice stretch pass that sent away Nuge and McDavid late in the third period, and they had a pretty good chance. Nuge did, and both guys 0 scoring chances against grade A scoring chances that we charged to them personally, and I just thought they filled their shutdown role really to a T. So hats off to Ethan and Chris.
2 games in a row for Ethan Bear with no such mistakes after a pretty shaky start to the year. He and Russell are forming a really strong partnership right now.
Okay, Rusty looks good, man. He looks confident. When he has the puck. I mean, he's never been the most creative player, but he's winning his share of battles and coming away with the puck.
I like Bear's. Again, he just like against Calgary, he's taking chances again. He's reading the game. He's moving in. He's prancing about, passing the puck well. That's the game. That's the Ethan Bear that we all, really came to admire last year. And great to see him over it was a concussion, I believe, and great to see him over that and back playing his A game, and not a moment too soon, because there's lots of debate over that player, which should quiet down now with him playing well again. Bruce, my second good thing is a bounce in this game. And it's the play where the puck was in the corner, Draisaitl and Larson kind of lost the battle, and it goes out, and Jones is kind of wandering about a little bit. Caleb Jones is wandering about, and Josh Archibald can't cover the cross-seam pass that goes to Kyle Connor, and Kyle Connor puts it off the post. It was the best, probably. Well, they had some pretty good chances, the Jets, in that game. Mikko Koskinen stopped 6 of 7 grade A chances, which is a good ratio, and he had a good game. But that one he did get beat on. He was going to get beat on, and he probably get beat on, and Kyle Connor hit that post. And it's funny, these kinds of games that are so tight, they really are decided by puck luck. When the chances are so close, everything's so close, and it's just one break that makes the difference. And the Oilers, they got it when he hit the post as opposed to scoring that goal.
Well, he hit the post, and then the puck bounced off the post, and it hit Koskinen, and it didn't go in.
Yeah.
It got caught up in Koskinen's pads, and then Leon came and fished it out and lobbed it to safety.
2 good bounces.
It was, it easily could have been one of those ones. Hits the post, hits the goalie, winds up in the net anyway. But
those are so
Koskinen was due a good bounce after that friggin' scrum goal that cost him in Vancouver the other night. So give the big guy credit. I say, in his last 4 starts, he's had 5 goals of support from the Oilers. I think it's 6 goals of support, and he won two games.
This was a really good game from him, actually. He stopped everything. The goal that got by him was a 5 alarm chance. It was, deflected right in front of him. But just before that, he had stopped on Matthew Perreault on 2 chances right off the face-off, I believe it was, where Barry and Nurse kind of got tangled up in each other. Very weird play where they were both kind of at fault, and they coughed up the puck. But Koskinen in the 3-meter man, Bruce, he came through. His save percentage, Bruce, is now .903, which is exactly the same as Jacob Markstrom's. Just noting that, just for reference.
Well, it was .960 tonight because he stopped 24 out of 25. That's a good night's work.
That is indeed. Where are we now? You second good thing?
Yeah, my second good thing. Yeah, I'm going to credit my old favorite, Zach Kassian. Come back and joined the lineup the last couple of days. I thought he was pretty good in Calgary last night, all things considered, considering he missed, 5+ weeks. And tonight I thought he was also pretty good. And, just skating and getting involved physically. He had 4 hits in this game. Wasn't really hugely involved in the offense. He had literally 0 shot attempts in the game. But what he had was a crucial 3-foot pass in front of the bench that sent McDavid in down the wing, and for the game-winning goal, where McDavid had the 2-on-1 chance, and he looked off and did that thing he does, where he doesn't look at the net and he picks the corner. And that happened just 38 seconds after Winnipeg had tied it up. Very next shift. The kind of stuff that happens to Edmonton far too often, as it did, for instance, on Monday in Calgary, where the Oilers tied it up and they blew the tie on the next shift. Well, this time they turned the tables on Winnipeg, and that little short pass. Tyson Barrie made a good play to get it up to Kassian, but that good short pass that Kassian made sprang McDavid through the neutral zone and in. And he's got funny hands, Kassian. He can make really good touches. And he's had a few assists over the years where he literally made a 3 or 2 foot pass, but he just chipped it into the path of somebody good, usually McDavid, because he's played a lot with him, of course. But that's a good thing. Anybody can put the puck into the path of McDavid is okay in my books. And I just thought he added something to the bottom 6 that was welcome. A big body, can move, take the body, get in the way, and he was good. The other thing he was good at, which he isn't always, was getting the puck out inside his own blue line.
Alrighty, let's move on to bad things. I'll start with mine was Caleb Jones. I thought he was kind of shaky and iffy at times tonight. The first play that got my attention was the breakaway by Trevor Lewis. And for some reason, Jones had wandered fairly deep into the offensive zone. And it's not apparent to me why. And unfortunately, I think it's kind of typical of some of the mental errors that he's made this year. He just seems to not always make the right read, both in the offensive zone and the defensive zone. And I'll tell you what, that's not going to endear him to this coach, or of any coaching staff that I've seen with the Oilers. He likes it pretty buttoned down. Mm-hmm. And Jones isn't really providing that. William Lagesson deserved to come out after his last game. He had a pretty rough game.
He did.
It'll be interesting to see, though, what happens if Jones played well enough to stick in. He was also on Kyle Connor's play, which I've already referred to. He was also kind of a little bit out of position, not making a play, unable to cut off the pass. So, and I also just noticed others moments where he wasn't top drawer. So I like the player. He can really move the puck. He can really skate. At even strength, he's okay. He can be okay, but he's got to cut down on these defensive miscues, because he and Tyson Barrie are making the most on the team this year, and one of them isn't leading the league for defensemen in scoring. So if Jones wants to stay in the lineup, he's really got to focus on that defensive reads and probably just focusing on playing a more conservative defensive game, while relying on his strengths when it's time to move the puck.
Right. So by making the most, you mean making the most defensive errors? I was thinking, wait a minute, he's not making the most. Nurse is making the most.
Sure. That was in my
But
head,
you're
but it
talking
didn't.
about
That was in my
defensive
head, but
errors, right? I was thinking, wait a minute.
yeah, that was in my head, but it didn't come out of my mouth. Making the most defensive miscues of anyone
Right.
on grade A chances, which we track. He and Barry are in their own category. Is the
He caught
truth.
my eye. Caleb caught my eye in a good way in a few shifts tonight. He does have those good wheels,
Yeah.
and every once in a while he just separates with the puck, and it's an easy out. And the more he does that, the better. And it needs to be sort of hardwired into his game to just consistently do that thing. As soon as you get the puck, take a step with it, take an elusive step with it, and then make your easy pass. And saw some of that tonight, but like you say, there was the two big mistakes. Luckily, it was Trevor Lewis on the breakaway as opposed to an actual goal scorer. So that worked out well in the end. He almost lost the puck right through Koskinen's legs, though. And the other one, he just, the passing lane was there, and he had help. Or he had no help. It was a team breakdown, but he was part of that. It was.
What's your bad thing, Bruce?
Well, for all that he scored both Oilers goals and he was first star of tonight's game with a bullet, I have to criticize Connor McDavid's egregious turnover with about 40 seconds left in regulation time tonight when he got the puck deep in his own territory off a real smart short pass from Josh Archibald with room to clear the zone. And he decided the way he would clear the zone was to keep the puck and try and beat a guy one-on-one. When in that situation, and I mean, normally you trust Connor's instincts, and his instincts are to, beat the guy one-on-one, go down and score in the empty net. But in that situation, the play is dump the puck into a safe place in the neutral zone and chase it there. And he had time to do that, and I just thought it was a mental error followed by a physical, it was a good play by, I think it was Pionk, who closed in on him and cut down his territory. But I just didn't think it was a good, quick decision that was appropriate to the circumstances, which with a 1-goal lead and 40 seconds left is defense. And geez, was it 5 seconds later that the pass came over to Scheifele and he had the whole open side and the puck bounced over his stick? I mean, that was going in the net as the puck's on the ice. And I was just about losing it.
He was thinking goal, 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 goal.
Yeah, well, there's ways to score. They got that one
taken away.
His way to score often, and this was a perfect time for it. You dump it off the wall, soft dump it off the wall in the neutral zone, and then you win the race to it. And if I'm going to bet on Connor McDavid to win that race 9 times out of 10. And if he doesn't win the race, well, they're reorganizing on their own side of center. And if he does win it, well, he can sit on the bench with a 3-1 lead for the rest of the night. But taking chances inside the blue line like that, so that's my bad thing. Sorry, Connor.
Could have been really bad. Could have been. Adam Larson
5 seconds, man.
Larson blocked that shot
and the whole net, and then Larson blocked a pass that was going through to Stastny alone in front, and
yeah,
it was chaos.
He came up big in those final few seconds. All right, Bruce, what's your number?
I'm going to go tonight with a number of 15 and 6 for 71%. This was Leon Draisaitl in the face-off circle tonight.
Wow.
This was not Leon's best game. I thought he came out slow and sluggish in the back-to-back after playing a monster game in Calgary last night. And he didn't really have it going on in the offensive game. And when he did have it going on, he passed to somebody who'd shoot and miss the net, like Dominic Cahoon did on the 2-on-1. I think Leon needs to spare the next one with the shot. Anyway, but I thought defensively he got more and more into the game and into the defensive side of the game. And a big part of it was the constant winning of these face-offs, where they'd line up I didn't actually look to see where all the zone draws were, but he'd line up often in Edmonton's territory and win the draw, and that'd be that. They'd get the puck and they'd move it on out, and he's become a very reliable face-off man for the Oilers, the best one they got. And between him, 15-6, and McDavid, 11-9 for 55%, the rest of the team combined only took 17 face-offs, so they each took more than a third. And they got the job done, but he was the first. He was the first man on the face-off. Took some on the penalty kill as well. I think he got a little bit more penalty killing duty than usual, and he got almost half. I mean, there was only one penalty each team, but because they sent him out to take the face-off, because I guess Kara wasn't available, and they're down a couple of men tonight. Didn't have Yamamoto as a penalty killing option, so they turned to Leon, and he got the job done there as well.
He was not involved in one grade A scoring chance for the Oilers this game, which is
rare, eh?
Obviously, he makes about 5 major contributions to grade A chances per game, and second leading scorer in the NHL. So pretty rare.
A reasonable person would say that the Cahoon shot was a scoring chance, but because it was off the net, we don't read it.
Yeah, he.
Nothing that Leon did wrong. That pass was perfect.
And there might have been even another one like that. The Oilers missed the net a few times, which is par for the course. Bruce, my number is 15. It's been 15 days since the Oilers last lost their third of 3 games to the Toronto Maple Leafs. At that point, they were 10 points behind the Toronto Maple Leafs in the standings, but in those 15 days, the Oilers have gone 6-2, and they are now tied with the Leafs in the standings. Now, the Leafs have 3 games in hand, but I'll take the cheap brag that the Oilers are now tied for first. It's incredible. I mean, who would have guessed this? I don't think many people would have guessed this. I wouldn't have guessed this. But the Leafs have been losing, and the Oilers have been winning. So, the Leafs just look so dominant in those 3 games, honestly. But Edmonton has come back and had some good goaltending, some good, Tippett's made some good moves, putting together the, that power line for a while with Draisaitl, McDavid, and Yamamoto, and then turning away from it when it stopped working. And the defense have been playing exceptionally well. Lots of guys have been rounding into form, and we've seen strong defensive play from the entire group. We've seen strong two-way play from the third and fourth lines consistently, something that we didn't have in the first month of the season. Those 2 lines are getting it done. So not a bad team, the Edmonton Oilers, Bruce. Not a bad team.
Yeah. Oh, here's a breakdown, by the way, on face-offs. Leon was 5 for 7 in the offensive zone, 9 out of 11 in the defensive zone.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he took, I think, close to half of the defensive zone face-offs, and he dominated them. So I think that was a contributing factor. Anyway, after we didn't recognize Leon's fantastic pass last night on the Cahoon goal, which that game we didn't mention McDavid or Draisaitl last night, who basically were the 2 of the 3 stars of the game. So I thought, well, we probably better, even if it's for a less spectacular feat than that pass, which was just glorious. But there are different ways to help your team win, and Leon in kind of second fiddle role tonight, but he got the job done on the dot, basically on the defensive side.
We're such hockey snobs, Bruce. We can, just overlook the good, the really great
routine.
plays.
It's routine, right? These boys do it every night.
That was a mistake on our part, I guess.
I listened to the podcast today, and didn't either one of us mention that pass?
I thought we did in passing mention it, but maybe not.
Yeah. Well, I think when I was complaining about the Calgary broadcast crew, I was talking about how the Oilers scored a great goal, and all I could do was say Calgary was shooting themselves in the foot.
Covered off.
Yeah, we're covered off tonight. Anyway, I thought I got to get back to that pass. That was so glorious.
Alrighty, Bruce, we're heading into the stretch run of the season, aren't we? We're down to 21. Are we 33 games?
Yeah, 23 more games.
All right, so.
And it seems like half of them are coming up in the next week. Holy crap. If we play Winnipeg on Saturday, fly all the way to Montreal Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then on to Toronto Saturday and Monday again. And so it's a run of 7 straight games against the other 3 teams in playoff position. So this is a very serious test for the Oilers. It's the first one of those. We had a run of games against the bottom feeders, Ottawa, Vancouver, Calgary. Couldn't resist. But the 3 playoff teams are just a steady diet of them now for the next 2 weeks, and it's a critical part of the schedule for sure.
You shouldn't resist. Yeah. So this was the first of these 7 games, you're saying?
Yeah. 2 against Winnipeg, 3 in Montreal, 2 in Toronto.
Wow. So good to get off with a win to start off, because if you can win 4 out of the 7, you count yourself lucky and continue on for the rest of the season. Vancouver's coming on a little bit, so we'll see what happens there. And
that's why I was so agitated by those 2 consecutive 1-goal losses to Vancouver and Calgary, rather than separating. It was kind of muddling up the race. But to come back with 2 wins on 2 nights like they've done this week is a great relief, to be honest.
Calgary, 31 points, Vancouver, 32, Montreal, 34, Winnipeg, 38, Edmonton, 40, Toronto, 40. Alrighty. Man, that would be fantastic, Bruce. Like I hadn't even put it in my head. Like it's just kind of going through my mind now. Like the Oilers tied for first. Like this could happen. They're still a long way off because Toronto has the 3 games in hand. But the Oilers could finish first this year in this division. It's not out of the question at this point. So
I wrote that back in September, I think, that I thought they had a shot.
I was saying it then
Everybody conceded the division to Toronto.
I didn't. The Oilers had the best record last year of any team of those. And I said it on the radio. I think I probably said it on this podcast, that I think they can take first. I didn't see why not. Why not? If they get goaltending, right? And it's the same continues on if they get goaltending, because everything else is turning out okay. I mean, I do think they're probably they're good goaltending and at least one elite forward away from being a real Stanley Cup contender. Now, they could get that good goaltending from these 2 guys. It's unlikely, but they could get it. You never know. I think they do need another forward, though, if they're going to make a serious run in the playoffs. And I don't know if they're going to be able to make that kind of trade or if it's advisable. I'm of 2 minds on that. Alrighty. So our next game is Saturday
night, late game against Winnipeg. And so it's the back end of this series. It's the third 2-game series between these 2 teams, and the other 2 ended in splits. And essentially they were all 1-goal games. There was an empty netter in one of them. All regulation games. So tonight's game continued that trend. What it didn't continue was the trend of high-scoring games between these 2. So we'll see what kind of I expected a little bit more explosive affair on Saturday night, to be honest.
Yeah, it was kind of like I was saying, a downer of a game on a certain level. So
it was a tactical game.
Lifeless.
Like, I didn't think it was a bad hockey game, but it was, it didn't have like lots of breathtaking moments. Still, 2 goals by McDavid were both pretty nice.
They sure were. Bruce, thanks for talking tonight.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. And thanks for all your comments on YouTube. Keep them coming.
Indeed. And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.